Yo, it's your boy Casual with the Silent A podcast. And man, we're back with another one. And a quick one at that. Hit that like button. It's free. Comment below. And as always, subscribe if you have the time. And we appreciate that love. And for this, let's get straight into it. It's the keys to victory for Usyk as he takes on Daniel Dynamite Dubois July 19, 2025. Before we go any further, this is not a prediction. This is just our breakdown, one of our thoughts of how Usyk can win this fight, take this fight, and solidify his victory against the likes of Dubois without no controversy, without no back and forth, without no low blow, no issues. And for this, it's simple. Remove Daniel Dubois' feet. Remove Daniel Dynamite Dubois' feet. How do you do this? What does this even mean? Daniel Dubois has been on a little tear, a confidence build, a trend. He's been pressing forward, knocking guys out, back to back to back. Gerald Miller, Philip Hrgovic, Anthony AJ Joshua, and all those he did fighting on the front foot, or at least started destruction fighting on the front foot, pumping his jab, peekaboo style, overhand right, setting these guys up for destruction. Obviously knocked out the likes of AJ Joshua with a nice counter on the inside, short chopping right, but the fight itself started with a nice overhand right, pressing on that front foot, stalking the likes of Anthony AJ Joshua, knocking them down early in that fight. Remove his feet, remove that pressure, remove that aggression that he's going to bring to you. That's actually our keys to victory for him to beat the likes of Usyk. Check out that video. You got to remove his movement coming forward. How do you do this? Change the angles. Change where you're at. Leave him thinking, leave him guessing, make him stutter, make him be more top heavy. As he's pressing forward, stop him in his tracks, hit his hips, hit his elbows. Tap the jab, tap the hands, and then move. As you're moving, Daniel Dynamite Dubois is so top heavy, I kind of let in. He actually has to reset. Too much muscle, too much build up top. His legs actually, they're proportional, but his footwork leans a little bit too much forward for him. And it's kind of based on his style, like where he say leans in that peekaboo style to fight, both hands up for guarding. But it's mainly in there so he can deliver his power, deliver that jab. He's got one of the most powerful jabs in the heavyweight division, by the way. As he's doing that, he has to reset. So you remove his feet from him. You make him think. You make him reset. And as he's resetting, you tag the body. You tag his hips. You tag his shoulders. And obviously, you go for the head. All in all, you start scoring points when he stops, resets, tries to figure out where you're at. Make him keep thinking where you're going to be. And as he's trying to think about where you're at, where you're going to be, his feet stop moving. His feet come from up underneath of him. That is the keys to victory for Usyk. Now, we already know Usyk is a master boxer, technician in the ring, one of the best to do it, pound for pound at that. So we already know you got to box him. But you don't just box to box and move around. You got to have it with a purpose. In this case, you slow down the other fighter. Now, normally I would tell you to tag the body, put in that mileage, put in that work. But in this case, Daniel Dynamite Dubois actually has a pretty decent body up on him. Built, strong. In this case, his head is the weak point. So you start removing his feet so you can have easy access to that eye, that orbital socket that was already fractured. Yes, it's healed up, but in a heavyweight fight, a heavyweight clash, round after round, you may be able to break that down again. And the easiest way to get to it is when he's resetting. Removing his feet, slowing him down, making him think about your cadence, making him think about where you're going to go is going to open up many of opportunities without putting yourself at risk. I mean, putting yourself at risk for going to the body, because when you do try to break down the body and do that body work, you're susceptible to get hit. And in the case of the body, Usyk showed a little bit of weakness in that first fight. and a couple fights against other opponents. Now, obviously, Usyk has probably built that body up and got himself together and looking strong, and I'm sure he's going to have that guard around there. But to get the least amount of damage, to show that you're aggressive, to show that you're not just moving around, and in the words of Turk Al-Sheikh, doing a Tom and Jerry, you slow him down with your angles, you slow him down again with your movements, and you let your offense go in fury, or in flurries, I should say. And as you're scoring, and you're scoring with precision, it's going to look destructive. You're going to use the momentum of Daniel Dynamite Dubois at that, as he's coming forward and kind of slipping and holding himself together. You're going to use his momentum against himself to make your punches actually even a little bit harder, and maybe even get yourself a knockdown later in this fight. Now, with that said, based on the confidence and based on where Daniel Dynamite Dubois is in his career, I don't see a stoppage this go around. It's going to be hard to probably get a knockdown as well, maybe by fatigue, maybe by tiredness later in this fight. But what you can do is make it decisive, make it clear, make it punishing over the 12 rounds for Dubois. And in our case, in our opinion, it all starts with removing his feet. Either way, we talked too long on this. It's a clear path for us. That's the keys to victory. One of the many keys that Usyk can do. He's got a lot of tools in his bag, but for us, that's the most important one, especially when you got this young man who's high on confidence, high on power, straight off of knockouts after knockouts off the top competition in the heavyweight division. It's a tough fight this go around. That first fight is done. It's gone. The man you saw in the first fight, he's been gone. You're going to get a way better version of Daniel Dynamite Dubois. And I know you already know that, pound for pound. But it goes without saying, when you got a guy like this that's high off of confidence, high off that train, sometimes you got to derail it and take those wheels from up underneath him and send him where you want to go so that you can score where you need to score to take this fight clearly with no controversy and no conspiracies. Anyways, that's our opinion, man. Hit that like button, comment below, and as always, subscribe if you got the time. It's your boy, Cash Burrell, with the Silent A podcast. Till the next time. Peace.